I heard that Amanda gave you the good story about akvavit. Has a lot of Viking roots. Of course, it's the Latin phrase that translates to water of life. We have long enduring winters and we do drink a fair bit, and akvavit is primarily a really big deal in for Christmas. Is the screen going crazy for anyone else, or is it just me? Okay, it might have just been me. So it's a staple at the julebord, which is a Christmas table. And as Amanda said, it does cross the equator twice in matured sherry casks to give it the smooth flavor. And if you are buying akvavit in the EU, in the European Union, it has to be produced in Norway due to a protected geographical indication, a PGI. So, but I think you guys know that akvavit, it's not really, I don't really drink. I'm a bad Norwegian, but it is a staple Norwegian drink. So, velkommen til Norge. Welcome to Norway, everyone. We are here to talk about Hurtigruten and HX, former sister brands. And I will be servicing the Norway part of this presentation. So we're here to take you through 132 years of history with Hurtigruten. This isn't just a cruise. You are quite literally journeying through 132 years of history. This is Norway by Norwegians. You can expect wellness, solo traveler friendly offers. You can expect active exploration if we have any hikers tuning in today. Any foodies tuning in today, we do highly discourage tight clothing on our cruises because all of our cruises are culinary cruises. We love to provide you with hidden gems, but the overarching theme over the next 20 minutes or so will be that Hurtigruten will be Norway by Norwegians. So apologies, I'm only coming to you in 2D today, virtually, but my name is Linn Wilson. I'm very excited that you are having me on today. And I am originally from Norway. Oh, I see that my video cut out as well. That's okay. I literally grew up watching the ships pass my house every single day. So I have a deep connection to Hurtigruten, and it's an absolute privilege and joy to be able to send people to my homestead on a regular basis. Do I still have everyone? My screen's going a little wonky. Let me see.
Yes.
So, okay. I also repel technology, mind you. So just Jennifer, call me if I tend to go offline and I just keep talking, because I will keep talking. We do have a packed agenda today. I want to talk about all things Norway, themes of Norway, what makes us different. Hint, your heart rate will go down. It is a relaxing experience. And let's dive right in. So let's know your Norway. Let's discover the themes of Norway here. First and foremost, second longest coastline in the world. If you stretch out our coastline, we have 1,700 fjords, 50,000 islands. 2/3 of the country is mountainous. We've had over 30 ice ages. So the topography in Norway is unlike any other destination. Just remember 1,700 fjords, 50,000 islands, 2/3 of the country being mountainous. I'm going to need that later on. And then the other place we sail to is the high Arctic archipelago region of Svalbard. This is 800 miles from the North Pole. Just getting to this archipelago alone is an adventure. So we will offer the adventure discovery style cruises along the west coast of Spitsbergen, and Jennifer and HX does full on circumnavigations expedition style. But it is the most wonderfully unique place you'll ever get to visit. It is home to the northernmost everything. There's more polar bears than people. You're not allowed to give birth here because they don't have the amenities for it. Please don't die here because you can't. Burials are also banned. The permafrost will push up your remains. Nobody wants to trip over old Uncle Oscar. Cats are illegal, ladies and gentlemen. No cats in Svalbard. That is due to the protected migratory birds. So this is a must-visit destination at least once in your life. About themes to Norway. Why would you come to Norway? Of course, the fjords, 1,700 of them. Not all fjords are the same, but this is the most stunning coastline you'll ever be able to witness. So this fjord that you're looking at this video of, this is the Trollfjord, the Troll Fjord. This mountain shoots up 1,000 meters straight up, and the mouth of this fjord is less than 100 meters. So that means only smaller ships can access. So I'm getting ahead of myself, but we can access areas that larger ships cannot. Then you have nature. If you are a nature enthusiast, if you like to be outdoors, hiking, biking, skiing, we are really big on that in Norway. So a big theme is friluftsliv. This is our love of the great outdoor life, being in harmony with nature without destroying or disturbing it. All of these clips that you're seeing are iPhone clips from my voyages last year. So I like to provide the firsthand experience. Northern Lights is a big draw for Norway. So a big swath of Norway falls underneath the auroral oval. You will all have homework today to look up the auroral oval for your next Northern Lights hunt. I'll get ahead of myself here. We have a competitive advantage in that we will take you away from light pollution. We will sail past cloud cover. Okay, guys, sorry about that. It seems like Zoom has decided to be a little finicky today, but we like to fly by the seat of our pants anyways. So I think we dropped off at this slide, did we not?
Yes.
Okay, so we are basically a fantastic place for Northern Lights. I'll get back into that later, but we're also fantastic for midnight sun, ladies and gentlemen. If you have issues falling asleep, well, we're not going to make those better in summertime because the sun does not set. It is a stunning coastline. You will be at war with your circadian rhythm with I need to go to bed and I do not want to miss out of this beautiful coastline. So summer is a beautiful time in Norway. Now, what makes us different? The Hurtigruten difference is where you need to take off all the cruise hat, any of your past cruise experiences, if they've been on the larger ships. That's not what we are selling here at Hurtigruten. So we are quite different in the fact that we are the longest running cruise line in Norway since 1893. That means that we've pretty much forgotten more about Norway than anyone else knows, and that's okay. So you're in good hands with us. It's going to be a relaxing haven at sea. This is the ships are designed for Norway. Everything about Hurtigruten as we move forward in this presentation will be Norway by Norwegians. Now think back to the 1,700 fjords, the 50,000 islands, and how 2/3 of the country was mountainous. That immediately makes this coastline treacherous. And I hope you guys can still hear me. My mouse is now spinning again. Give me a yes, yes, ma'am. You can hear me.
Yeah.
All right. We'll just do like hip hip hurrah a few intervals just to make sure I still have my captive audience here. But we actually got our start in 1893 by carrying mail from Trondheim up to Hammerfest. That journey used to take weeks, if not months, depending on the season, because there's so much water. None of us can get anywhere. So Hurtigruten was formed to be a lifeline to the Norwegian coast. Here's your first lesson on Norwegians. We are incredibly literal people. So Hurtigruten quite literally means the fast route. Hurti means fast, Ruten means route. Did we get to Hammerfest and say, Peter, that was a really fast way to get to the north? That's what happened. But here is the biggest part of the why for Hurtigruten. This is a journey through the longest lifeline to the Norwegian coast. We are so important. Export was born on our ships. Freedom of movement born on our ships. This was a monumental affair in Norway, and we are the most celebrated cruise line in Norway today. Here in the States, we're a little bit closer to Hurti. Who Hey in Norway, everyone knows us. School-age children will escape their teachers so that they can chase the ships. Hurtigruten is coming. We have mayors of tiny villages with populations of 150. basically asking our captain, Captain Ingar, can you deviate the ship? We have a surprise for you. A little boy drew you a drawing. We want to welcome you. Stop by for 20 minutes. This is not something you get with any other cruise line. We are so celebrated, and that is the biggest part of the why Hurtigruten and what makes us so different. This is Norway by Norwegians. Now, if you're tuning in and you have any type of smartware, Apple Watches, Aura Rings, you might get a notification. You've had more restorative time than usual. Did you do something different? Yes, you went to Norway. This is a relaxing affair. The ship is nothing more than your floating hotel, ladies and gentlemen. Your stateroom is your bedroom. You sleep there. You're not spending all day because guess what? The rest of the ship is built for your comfort. All of the ships have 180-degree panorama lounges. That's your living room. No dress code on Hurtigruten ships. We are allergic to dress codes. We are dressing comfortably. We're basking in the sun in summer. We're chasing the northern lights in winter. You're going to find a lot of people knitting and crocheting, playing board games, card games on board. If anyone tuning in today has reached the era of their life where it's too darn peoply outside, we would love to welcome you on a less peoply experience with Hurtigruten. The ships are also designed for Norway. They're much smaller, so we max out at 500 guests. Realistic numbers could be going to be closer to 350, 400 because we have a lot of solo travelers with us, but we thread that Norwegian coast like a needle. And again, I love showing my firsthand footage with you guys because this is the norm, not the exception. Maybe some of you in the room today, maybe you've gone on a river cruise. Have you considered a fjord cruise? The sailing style is very similar. We can access these unique ports of call that are otherwise inaccessible by larger ships. We can fit into the narrow nooks and crannies in the fjords along the Norwegian coast. Now, we were married to HX for quite some time, and we did adopt some traits of our former spouse here with the lecture programs. So when you're on board, and if you've ever been on an expedition, you'll notice that the onboard format is quite similar. We have lecture programs. We are going to threaten you with a good time. Okay, so I think, let me see, we're going with screen number 2. You should see the Norway's coastal kitchen here. I've joked 3 times now that we're not wearing tight clothing on Hurtigruten cruises. So I'm assuming everybody is in the know that we're not wearing tight clothing. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so 80% of our food is sourced locally from the various ports of call. But since we're talking about alcohol, we also have really fun beverage libacious collaborations. So let me tell you about Havets Bobled, or Bubbles of the Sea. This is where we have decided to age our sparkling wine underwater in undisclosed fjords for 10 months on end to provide a great maturation process. Undisclosed because you don't want Norwegians stumbling upon these crates. We do drink quite a bit, and you don't want us finding these on a Friday night. But this is called Bubbles of the Sea. You can have sparkling wine with barnacles on it. We also have breweries that make organic IPAs only for Hurtigruten. You have distilleries that will make that famous akevit, the bye-bye liquor as we call it, or premium Arctic gin only for Hurtigruten. So everything about Hurtigruten is Norway by Norwegians, all the way into the last taste you'll have on board. The last part about why Hurtigruten, if anybody here cares about sustainability, we are quite green. No heavy fuel oil. We have 3 hybrid powered ships, no single-use plastic on board, 80% of our food sourced locally, and we have a foundation that gives back. So long-winded intro, dropped off twice, but the story continues. We have experiencing Norway your way. So we are the largest fleet in Norway, 365 days a year. That original coastal express that was founded back in 1893, we have 7 ships sailing year round. So when you're chatting to Roseborough every single week of the year, we're going to have up to 5 departures. We have a more premium signature collection style of sailing that is not technically a lifeline to the Norwegian coast. That means Norwegians are not utilizing our services to hop on and hop off. Longer port stays, more inclusive. So that would be under the signature voyage collection. We have a Midnight Sun option called the Svalbard line and a Northern Lights option called the North Cape line. We also have fully escorted and half escorted tours, land and sea, to chase the northern lights and midnight sun. And we have a wide variety. We also have the signature package tours with land and sea. So I'll address those a little bit later on. Northern Lights cruises. We have the highest number of Northern Lights cruise departures. We do have the widest variety of Northern Lights itineraries as well. So we'll get into that later on. But your life on board, again, I've already kind of set the stage. This is a calm and relaxed affair. This is active exploration. So I took this picture while on a hike. So all of our ships can fit into one big white ship. We are tiny little shrimp compared to the larger ships. So a smaller, more intimate affair. Your base camp at sea cannot stress this enough. We are allergic to dress codes. So we are very relaxed. We dress for elements, we dress for comfort. The ships have well-appointed suites, some with balconies or some with floor-to-ceiling bay windows, and a wide variety of non-suite stateroom options. Just be advised that if you do book a non-suite stateroom option, the footprint runs a little smaller than industry standards. If you opt to travel like a local and go on the original Coastal Express, that 132-year route, you'll have one restaurant included in your voyage's 6+ days. And if you sail with Signature, there's a heavier focus on culinary. So this is where you'll have two restaurants for every guest, and then you'll also have a fine dining that it's included for suite guests. So the main difference between the two sailings will be the time in port and the inclusions. So the original Coastal Express has all the essentials. We'll have your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's going to have the coffee and tea, the Wi-Fi, the lecture programs, port charges, taxes, and fees. And with Signature, you're going to have the sodas, the beers, the wine, select spirits. You'll have more restaurant options. So this is just overall a more inclusive affair. And it also have longer time in port. With either of our options, off-ship excursions will carry an additional charge. So you want to make sure that you are chatting to Roseborough about your level of mobility. If you want to handle a snowmobile at 1 o'clock in the morning and then travel between port to port to catch the ship in the following port, chase the northern lights, we're going to expect a higher degree of mobility as opposed to a guided bus tour. Northern Lights cruise options, and once again, Norway's fantastic for Northern Lights, but a cruise is fantastic for Northern Lights because you have to have full darkness, you have to have clear skies, and you need geomagnetic activity. So large portions of our voyages take place right smack underneath the auroral oval, and where we have the advantage over land is, guess what? We can sail past cloud cover. We can get you away from light pollution, and we're not going to mess with your beauty sleep. You can go to bed. We'll make announcements to your stateroom. So the biggest promise we have to you today is that anytime you sail with us between September 20th and March 31st, any of our offerings 11 days or longer, if Lady Aurora has the audacity not to come out and play, you will be afforded a free 6 or 7 day cruise the following season. So that's a pretty good promise, I would say. And you can basically experience Norway your way once again with our many differing offers. Now, this is the most important thing to note. There's a heck of a lot of red dots on this map. All of those dots are ports. So with the original Coastal Express, we've been adopted by leisure travelers. This is the closest way to travel like a local, but it's not your traditional cruise per se, because we still have the fjords. We're still provisioning the local communities. Norwegians are hopping on and hopping off. So when you see these 15-minute stops, your first thought is, well, how the heck am I supposed to get off if you're only stopping for 15 minutes? Those stops are not for you. Those stops are for the locals. We're running lectures. We're having points of interest through these stops. So what you need to take away from this, on this original Coastal Express, that you'll have up to 4 hours in port sailing north daily and up to 3 hours sailing south. We have themed astronomy voyages where we bring on renowned astronomers. This is building on the original Coastal Express. We're going to learn everything there is to know about Northern Lights here. We're going to go on a Northern Lights excursion to the planetarium. And this is a popular affair. But one of my favorite offerings that we have for Northern Lights is Best of Land and Sea. This one is chock full of bucket lists from start to finish. Starting, if you start from Oslo, world famous 2-day Norway in a nutshell tour. That means a train to Flom. You get to go on a hybrid electric boat down a UNESCO listed fjord called the Fjord. full-on Northern Lights cruise from Hurtigruten, amazing land package in Finland, Sami Museum, Santa's Village, overnight in an igloo hotel. Yes, please. Let's go dog sledding. Let's hang out with some reindeer and take a beautiful rail journey from Rovaniemi to Helsinki. You are fully escorted in groups of 24 max. So you have a tour leader from start to finish on this 17-day tour from Oslo to Helsinki, or you can do 15 days from Helsinki to Oslo. And then the premium North Cape line immediately see way fewer dots here. What does that mean? That means we're not making nighttime stops. We're not having those 15-minute wonky stops. We're going to have stops that will range typically 4 to 10 hours. So this is much closer to a traditional cruise. You can opt for 7, 9, or 15 days. And I also love this picture because we actually have a Hurtigruten museum that has a full ship in a bottle concept. That's our ship from 1956. So when I say we're the most celebrated cruise line in Norway, I'm not blowing smoke. We really are. And then we finally chase the midnight sun. So while I've been kicked off this call a few times, we are nearing the end. So I appreciate you guys hanging in. We have the amazing original Coastal Express year round. Once again, 7 ships. We have a few more fjords in the summertime that we'll deviate into on the northbound leg. We have escorted land and sea tours, Sweden, Finland. So it'll be escorted until Kirkenes, at which point our expedition teams will take over the group. And then finally, we have amazing midnight sun cruises that will take you up to that amazing high Arctic archipelago of Svalbard. 8 days north, 8 days south, or 15 days round trip. We're going to call upon villages with 150 people. We're going to go to archipelagos with 400 people that sits 33 nautical miles offshore. Every port on this itinerary is a gem in its own right. If you want a little bit more land, you can opt for the Arctic frontier, Oslo Fjords and Svalbard, 2-day Norway in a nutshell, plus the Svalbard line north to Longyearbyen, and 2 days to explore this amazing town. And that also includes excursions and a 14-course tasting at a restaurant called Husa. And the last offer I'll talk about is a 17-day tour, again, featuring the Norway in a nutshell Svalbard line, 2 days in Longyearbyen, and then we have what I like to call a vintage expedition. So this is the only time Hurtigruten will touch an expedition on a 103 passenger ship to West Spitsbergen. And by expedition, I basically mean we are zodiacking ashore. There's not piers in the region. So everything, if you can dream it along the coast of Norway, we can probably build it. So I will end my portion with the benefits of booking with Roseborough. So you're likely to get shipboard credit on your bookings. They have access to special pricing. So if you wanted to test out the original Coastal Express this year, guess what? Roseborough can unlock an additional $500 savings on top of what you would be able to source directly. If the North Cape line holds appeal to you for this season, you can unlock up to $700 per person. We always have solo traveler offers. It's against my religion to punish someone for having the audacity to travel without a partner. So once we're within 3 months of sailing, we'll usually start to offer a bunch of departures with no single supplement. And of course, the most important part is that Roseborough has that in-house expertise. You are in great hands from start to finish. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I got kicked off a couple times, but we rallied and we pivot and we fly by the seat of our pants. That is the nature of a discovery experience anyways. So any questions before I pass it over? And I apologize, we are now 7 minutes over my time. And I hope you're all there. Give me a hip hip hurrah.
I have a question. On the basic, the cruise, the non-signature cruise, are there ports of call where you stay an amount of time?
Yes. So on the northbound leg, if you are sailing, I'll just kind of deviate back here. Let's find, so this guy, the original Coastal Express, on average, it would actually be helpful if I go back to the sailing timetable. So if you see here, for example, you'll have 3 hours in Trondheim. Then the next port for day 4, you're going to have a couple hours. But we also have great dual port excursions. So we recognize that we're not going to have as much time in port as a traditional cruise. So you can hop off the ship in one port, chase the ship, catch it in the following port. And then the most impressive example is Mayhem, where you would jump off at 1 o'clock in the morning, hop on a snowmobile under the northern lights, go vroom, vroom, and then you chase the ship and you catch it in the following port. But when you sail north, you're going to have a max of 4 hours in port, generally speaking, and max of 3 hours in port sailing south. So it's not going to be the 12 hours in port like you would have on a more traditional style cruise. If more time in port is important to you, then I would recommend that you check out the signature either Svalbard line or North Cape line.
Thank you, Lynn. Any other questions? All right, Lynn, thank you so much for your working through technology with us, for your great presentation. Lynn, do you want to tell them about why a cheese planer or a cheese cutter?
The cheese slicer. Write
Cheese
this
slicer,
down,
okay.
ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, you all have to have brunost. I wish I could come on video. I'm just too scared to hit the button because that's what's causing me to drop off. But my face is very animated behind this non-video here. We invented the cheese slicer. So how you could go on with your days without knowing that this is our biggest invention, I don't know. So the cheese slicer has a lot of appeal to us because we can be creative and we love brunost. So if you get to that goat cheese, that brown cheese, taste it, traditional Norwegian, and you can get it at the specialty grocery stores. And just know it's also flammable, which is hilarious. But the cheese slicer, it's almost a running joke because that's what we're most known for our contribution to society, if you will. So that one should be a Norwegian cheese slicer, and I think everybody needs one in their household.